me to John chapter 5, verses 39 and 40. John 5, 39 and 40. Here Jesus is speaking to a group of Jews, and He says, you search the Scriptures. Which Scriptures was Jesus talking about here? There was no New Testament. Jesus was still in His ministry, so there was no New Testament written. This is the Old Testament Scriptures. So He says, you search the Scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and these are they which what? Which testify of me. What did the Old Testament Scriptures do? They testified of whom? Jesus. What did John the Baptist do? He testified of whom? Of Jesus. So how many lesser lights do we have? We have two lesser lights that testify to Jesus, the greater light. We have John the Baptist, a non-canonical prophet, and we have the Scriptures, which are part of the biblical canon. Notice also John 5, verses 45 to 47. John 5, 45 to 47. Do not think that I shall accuse you to the Father. Jesus is speaking. There is one who accuses you, Moses, in whom you trust. For if you believe Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how will you believe my words? Whom did Moses write about? He wrote about Jesus. To whom did Moses give testimony or witness? To Jesus. In other words, Moses was a lesser light who was to lead to Jesus, the greater light. So we have two lesser lights. John the Baptist, a non-canonical prophet, and we have the Scriptures that are part of the biblical canon. And of course, the question that begs to be answered is this. Why did you need two lesser lights to lead to Jesus, the greater light? Why did you need a non-canonical prophet? And why did you need the writings of the biblical canon to give witness to Jesus, the greater light? Wasn't it enough just to have the Scriptures as a lesser light to lead to Jesus, the greater light? Let me explain the reason why it was needed to have two lesser lights to lead to Jesus, the greater light. And I want to frame this by asking a question. Do you believe that the Jews could have accepted Jesus simply by reading the Scriptures of the Old Testament? Do you think it would have been possible for them to recognize Jesus as the Messiah only by reading the Scriptures of the Old Testament, by reading that lesser light? Do you think so? I do. You say, how do you know that? Because every event of the life of Jesus was choreographed in the written Scriptures. You have in the material that I gave you a list, and I'm going to go through it quickly. We're not going to read all the verses. The Old Testament said that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. He would be born of a virgin. His birth would be announced by a star. When he was born, the children would be massacred. He would be called out of Egypt. He would be baptized and anointed at the end of the 69th week of Daniel 9. He would do marvelous and powerful works. He would be a powerful speaker. The Jews would reject his message. They would serve him with their lips while their hearts were far from him. He would march into Jerusalem on a donkey in the midst of great acclamation. He would cast the money changers out of the temple. Zeal for God's house would consume him. He would be sold for 30 pieces of silver. His disciples would forsake him in the garden. He would die a vicarious death. He would say on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me? His hands and his feet would be pierced. Lots would be cast upon his garments. His heart would be poured out like water. His enemies would spit in his face. His enemies would dare him to come down from the cross. None of his bones would be broken. He would say on the cross, I thirst. His passion would last 3 days and 3 nights. He would be buried in the tomb of a rich man. He would resurrect on the 3rd day. He would ascend to heaven, and he would sit at the Father's right hand. Was there enough evidence in the written Scriptures to show them that Jesus was the Messiah? Absolutely.